Has anybody seen the LCPA questions yet?
Yeah, I just glanced through it, but I have not solved it yet.
Okay.
We've seen it, so we answered your question. देख लिया है. होमवर्क अभी बढ़ता जा रहा है.
बढ़ता जा रहा है, वही मैं इसीलिए याद दिला रही हूँ. I need to catch up. Oops. नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्रायाणं नमो लोये सवसाहुणं. Jai Jinendra Sabikar.
Jai Jinendra.
We finished the Chatkarak last class. We'll start with Chaturdash Gunsthan. Chaturdash means 14. So the 14 Gunsthan ka chapter आज हम करेंगे. Just wanted to remind you guys, even though I'm
Fourth,
not
right?
sure.
Fourth or 14th?
14. Chaturdash is not 4, it's 14. 10 plus Chatur, like 4. 10 plus 4.
But in English,
English
it's
is a
like
fourth
fourth stage of spiritual development in English. It says.
Yeah, it's just an error in the English. It should be 14th,
Yeah.
not 4th.
Yeah, so can we please make a note and send it to Varsaji, please? Yeah. Yeah, she may not have got that one. That's okay. So now again, all these stages, 14, this is just for ease of understanding because really there is no such thing as 14 per se. It's a gradual scale. Atma ki Vishuddhi, purity, continuum, actually it is. Okay. But व्यवहार से लोगों को समझाने के लिए ऐसे डिविजन्स किए जाते हैं so they can sort of say कि okay इस गुण स्थान में ये होगा उसमें ये होगा इस तरह से. But that is not to say कि there's not a little overlap or things like that. It's actually a continuum. Okay. Now, okay, so I just wanted to quickly discuss that just so you guys don't accumulate too much work for the end of the semester. Amit ji, you want to go over what all we should be done by now? What assignments?
Yeah, assignment wise, right, for semester 2, right, we should be done with Dharm ke 10 Lakshan, right, Tattvagyan Pathmala, right, and Ahimsa, both together. That's one assignment. Right. And
hopefully you're done with both of those. And since the LCPA is already available, might as well get it over with. So then that way you're only left with this Tattvagyan 2 and Nimittapadan summaries.
Yep.
So, and now I don't know if Burarji is going to ask for one more day or is he ready today? Is he listening?
Yeah, he's on mute though.
No, I prepared for Uttam Tap and then I looked back into it and it says, oh, I have to do for Uttam Tyag. Am I doing Uttam Tap or Uttam Tyag? I'm confused. I can give the brief on both.
Now, Dinesh, you might as well do the whole book.
No. I should do whichever you tell me. I'll just do it. I'll just read. I have few notes. I don't want to keep this pending, but I can do it at the end of the class if you want.
Okay. Okay, Amitji, you tell him whatever is written in front of his name, or if we don't care if he is thoroughly prepared nicely, tap we can hear tap again. What difference does it make? So, okay.
That's okay.
Actually, Tyag is an interesting one. Yeah, if nobody did it, maybe that would be a good one to do. Okay. Chalo, let's start with this Chaturdash Gunasthan. So basically, these are 14 stages of soul's paryay as it is going towards Keval Gyan, ultimate purity. So there are different characteristics that it's going to explain in each of the Gunasthan what you can expect. And Siddhant Chakravarti Nemichandra Acharya is the author. Jaha chakkena ya chakki chakkhandam sahiyam avighena tahamai chakkena maya chakhandam khandam sahiyam khasamma. So again, we have read other chapters with Siddhant Chakravarti Nemichandra Acharya. But let's go ahead and start reading. I guess who wants to start? Dinesh Purabji, is your book open? Are you able to read? Otherwise, I'll ask Amitji to read.
I have the Hindi book open. I could not find the seventh chapter in the English books. Maybe I have the
Okay,
old.
I
you
shared the new one.
yes. Okay, till
La-
he opens, go ahead, Amitji, you start
Okay,
reading.
Okay,
yeah,
thank
I'll read. Just as a Chakravarti, universal monarch, conquers the 6 divisions, khandas, of the earth with the help of the divine discus, Sudarshan Chakra, similarly, I, Nemi Chandra, have mastered the great principles of the Satkhandgam sacred text with the wheel of my intellect. Therefore, he was called the Emperor of Doctrine, Siddhant Chakravarti. He was a contemporary of the famous king Chamundarai, and Chamundarai's time was the early part of the 11th century, which means that Acharya Nemi Chandra too was adorning the land of India during this period. Acharya Nemi Chandra was no ordinary scholar. The works that he composed, such as Gomatsar, Jeev Kand,
Jeev.
Gomatsar, Jeev Kand, Gomatsar, Karma Kand, Trilok Sar, Labdi Sar, and Shapan Sar,
Shapanakshar.
Shapana Sar reflect his extraordinary erudition and justify his title of Siddhant Chakravarti. At the request of Chamundarai, Acharya Nemi Chandra composed Gomatsar, summarizing essential doctrines from various authoritative scriptures. This work is divided into 2 major sections, Jeev Kand and Karma Kand. Jeev Kand consists of 22 chapters and 733 verses. Karma Kand comprises 9 chapters and 972 verses. This entire text is also known as Panchasamgraha, and it describes the following 5 topics: bondage, bandha, the process of binding, bandhya mana,
Bandyamani. Mhm.
the master or subject of bondage, bandha swami, the
Mhm.
cause of bondage, bandha hetu,
Mhm.
the types of the types or divisions of bondage,
Mhm.
bandha bhed. In the earlier Jain literary tradition, the Satkhanda Gam, composed by Acharya Dharasen's
Mhm.
disciples Pushpadant and Bhutabali, is regarded as one of the most ancient texts. The first part of this scripture discusses topics from the perspective of Jeev, soul, while the remaining sections explore various subjects concerning the relationship between Jivas and Karmas.
Mhm.
Inspired by this monumental work, Acharya Nemi Chandra Siddhant Chakravarti composed the Gomatsar, dividing it into 2 parts, Jeev Kand and Karma Kand. The essence of the Satkhand Agam has been fully encapsulated within the Gomatsar. There are mainly 4 commentaries available on the Gomatsar text. One is the Sanskrit commentary Manda Prabodhika,
Manda Prabodhika. Mhm.
Manda Prabodhika by Abhay Chandra Acharya, which is found only up to verse 383 of the Jeev Kand. The second is Keshava Varni's Sanskrit mixed Kannada commentary, Jiva Tattva Pradipika, which is an extensive commentary on the entire Gomatsar and fully follows Manda Prabodhika. The third is the Sanskrit commentary Jeev Tattva Pradipika by Nemi Chandra Acharya, which closely follows the previous two commentaries, offering detailed explanations on the entire Gomatsar. The fourth is the Hindi commentary Samyak Gyan Chandrika by Pandit Todarmal, which clarifies the Sanskrit commentary's topics. Following these translations into Hindi, English, and Marathi were made. The Gomatsar Granth scripture is a regular part of the curriculum in Jain schools. In the first section of the major division of Jeev Kand, the stages of spiritual development, Gunsthanas, are discussed in great detail. This chapter has been written with that in mind. For a more comprehensive understanding of Gunasthanas, the study of Gomatsar Jeev Kand is recommended. Fourth stage of spiritual development, Chaturdash Gunasthan, this should be 14th again, outlines the stages of spiritual progress for all living beings based on the 5 types of dispositions bhavs. For some beings, there are 2 such states, for others 3, 4, or all 5. These are state of subsidence, opsamic, state of destruction, shaik, state of partial destruction, partial subsidence, shayopsamic, state arising from the fruit and rise of karma, odaik, natural inherent state, parinamic. These represent the intrinsic dispositions, nij bhav of the jeev. Among these, although the first 4 modes are from the real viewpoint nischay nai, produced by the jeev itself, yet from the conventional viewpoint vyavahar nai, they are caused by the appropriate operation of subsidence, upasam, destruction, shay, partial destruction and subsidence, shayopsam, and rise, uday of karma. Therefore, their names subsidential, opasemic, destructive, shaik, partially subsidential destructive, shayopshamik, and maturational, odaik are meaningful. Moreover, the natural mode, parinam, of each soul, which is beginningless, endless, uniform, independent of karmic adjuncts, and innate to its own nature, is designated as parinam of such mode such mode itself is termed the intrinsic natural disposition, parinamic bhav. In the original text, Prakrit, it is precisely these dispositions are intended by the word attributes guna. And from the gradations of these very disposition attributes caused only by delusion moha and activity yoga as their instrumental conditions arises the 14 stages, which are called
Okay,
the
let's
14
let's
stages.
wait here. 1 second. Okay, let's try to understand so far what we
Yeah.
read. So first we read about this Nemi Chandra Acharya, who was in the 11th century. So Shat Khandagam original, they say they are not available anymore. Okay, they were the agams written by so as the memory started losing, this one acharya said he was getting old. He thought now he's also not capable of writing, from memory. So he invited 2 young scholars who were very talented with lot of memory. And he tested them that they had enough knowledge that number one, whatever he tells them, they can absorb, memorize. Plus, if he makes any mistake, they will be able to catch it. So he tested them, and then he decided to have these two young scholars write the Shatkhand Agam. Shatkam means 6 parts of, major agams. Now, and their name was Pushpadant and Bhutwali. In fact, it happened at Girnar, where, if you go to the Girnar Tirth, there is a place where they say that is where that Acharya was, and he invited these scholars. Now, so then from those Shatkhand came about this Gomatsar. Okay.
Auntie, is that Shatkhand Agam, is that still existent? Does that still exist?
I don't think they are available in their original.
Like it's lost, it's one of the lost Agams?
Yes, yes. But then there are other acharyas who's written commentaries and whatever, those are available. Okay. So basically, Nemi Chandra said that I have mastered this Shatkhand Ragam, right? Just like Chakravarti masters the Sudarshan Chakra. Okay. So that's why they called him Siddhant Chakravarti, Chakravarti of the principles or whatever they translated that Siddhant into, doctrines. Okay. Now, so then Nemi Chandra Acharya wrote all these other commentaries on Jeev Kand, Gomatkar, Karm Kand, Triloksar. Triloksar is to do with the geography, Jain geography, Labdisar, Chaprashar. These are all. So the 5 Paramagams, and then these are smaller books, but they're also very important agams. Okay. So, and they all have their own specialty. Like Gomatsar has to do with where all the life or Jeev can take birth from, where all it is found. So Jeev is found in Chauda Gunsthan, Jeev is found with 5 Indriyas, like that. So there's detailed descriptions of those things. Then Gomatsar Karm Kand is going to be describing in detail how karmas are accumulated, how their bondage happens, what are the reasons of bondage, how to set them free. All those details will be in Gomatsar Karm Kand. So, this Chamund Rai, who was the king in those days, if anybody has visited Shravan Belgola, the tall monolith, so that was also made under guidance of Chamund Rai Raja. So, so he insisted, see, back in those days, even the kings used to be so religious that they would encourage. You see stories about in Rajasthan, there is that Dilwada temple. The king would give that much gold to the people, to the workers. So the kings used to spend their wealth in good causes like that. So same thing here, the king told him to create all these works. So Jeev Kand is divided into 2 major, Jeev Kand and Karm Kand are 2 major parts of Gomatsar Granth. And then they describe how many gathas and how many verses and all that. So then, Purv Paramparagat Prapt Jain Sahitya mein Acharya Dhar Singh Rachit Shatkandams. So in that one, the first khand Jeev ki apeksha se, or rest all was कर्मों की अपेक्षा से. इसी को लक्ष्य में रखकर नेमीचंद सिद्धांत चक्रवर्ती गोमटसार, he created Gomatsar. Now, on Gomatsar, again, there are more people who wrote. And because, see, these are all written in Sanskrit and Prakrit, whatever languages were popular in those days. And then eventually Todramalji wrote Samyak Gyan Chandrika, which I would think is in Hindi. It doesn't say here. Wait.
Yeah, it says it's a Hindi commentary.
Where does it say Hindi? I didn't.
It
quite-
says the fourth is the
Oh,
Hindi
there we go.
commentary,
हाँ,
Samyak Jnana
Hindi,
Chandrika.
अंग्रेजी तथा मराठी के अनुवाद. No. I don't know. उन्हीं का अनुसरण करके means following his style. Then it was translated
Nee,
into.
nee, the sentence just before that. The fourth is the Hindi commentary, Samyak Jnana Chandrika by Pandit Todarmal. English में तो ऐसे
It's
लिखा है.
interesting. It says Bhasha Tika in the Hindi book. It doesn't say
I
Hindi.
think Todamalji is like a Dundari Bhai. Dundari.
Yeah, he's like that's also sort of Hindi. So, but they called it Bhasha in the Hindi book instead of Hindi. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, but I would think it's close to Hindi language, the to one from Todarmalji. Okay. So Gomatsar Granth is, part of the Jain, universities that give degrees. That is Pravachans and Gomatsar are always taught. So now they're saying that this Gunsthan that we are going to study comes from the Jeev Kand section of the Gomatsar Granth.
Auntie, is Gomatsar considered one of the Paramagam?
Yes.
Okay.
So Samaysar, Pravachansar, Niyamsar, Panchastikaya, and Gomatsar. Those are the 5. Okay. So, and yeah, it's an important topic because everybody wants to know about karma theory and where the life form can go and what are the stages of the life form.
Can you
So-
can you say it one more time? The 5
The
Paramagam.
Samaysar,
Pravachansar.
Pravachansar, Niyamsar. Niyamsar is more about sadhus charya, how sadhus should live. Then Panchastikaya and Gomatsar.
Prabhaji, what about Shatkhanda Agam?
Shadkhand Agam was the original from which this Gomatsar has come out.
Okay. So
But
is
we're
that-
saying that one doesn't exist anymore. The original does not exist. Right?
No, I
Right.
think it says the original does exist in Shravan Belgola. But it is advised that nobody read the original.
Gomatsar exist. Gomatsar by Siddhanta.
Siddhant, yeah, Chakravarti.
Yeah,
exists.
that was being worshipped. That was Todarmalji actually went and did.
That's right. He got it and translated
Yeah,
from
made-
Kannada.
made 2
I think
copies.
original must be in Kannada over there or
In
something.
old Kannada. Yeah, old Kannada.
Yes. So, I don't know if he's there anymore. Even in Jaipur in PTSD, there used to be a very old person. He was from Karnataka. So he used to understand Kannada, and whenever they needed help with translations, he would, I don't think he's there anymore. He was pretty old when I met them. Anyway. So now they're explaining what is this 14 Gunsthans. So sab jeevon ke, we already studied the Panch Bhav. Remember, we did the Opshamik, Shaik, Shaipshamik, and Odaik and Parinamic. Those are Jeev ke Bhav. Parinamic is something that always exists in each soul. And the other ones are different types. Whenever you have, Opshamik, Samik Darshan hota hai, to karmo ka dabna. Shaik means karmo ka khatam hona. Shayopshamik means certain what do you call, partial categories ka kshay hona or kuch ka dabna. Then Odaik is the Uday, and ye jeevon ke bhav hote hain. So then they're saying that the natural state of jeev is obviously पारिणामिक भाव. परिणाम संज्ञा है और ऐसा परिणाम ही पारिणामिक भाव कहलाता है. Now, गुण शब्द द्वारा इन्हीं
Prabhaji, do we have a guest today?
Somebody said something?
Yeah, do we have a guest attendant today?
Oh,
There's
Jaya
somebody-
Malde.
No. Who is?
Yeah, there's a. Oh, is that Arunji?
No, it says Jao Malde.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Arunji is there. Yeah.
it's a friend that I had given
Oh.
her this a while back, so she must be listening in.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So गुणों के तारतम्य से जो 14 गुण स्थान बनते हैं उनको 14 गुण स्थान कहते हैं. So now we're going to study the 14 Gunsthans. What are the different names? And then we'll study a little more detail about it. Okay. So, okay. So Dinesh Burarji, now if your book is open,
Yeah.
are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay.
So the 14 Gunsthan, they are as follows: false belief, mithyatva; downfall from right belief,
Mm-hmm.
sasadna,
Asadan.
sasadan; mixed right and false belief,
Mm-hmm.
samyak mithyatva mishra;
Mm-hmm.
vowless right belief, avirat samyaktva;
Mm-hmm.
limited vows of a householder,
Mm-hmm.
desa virat;
Mm-hmm.
monk with mild negligence,
Mm-hmm.
pramatta samyata; monk with no negligence, restrained, apramatva samyata;
Sanyat. Mhm.
sanyat. Okay. Unprecedented dispositions, apurva karan; no difference in disposition, anivritta karan; minute passions, shukshma
Samparai.
samparai;
Mhm.
subsidence of deluding karmas, upasanta
Upashant Kashai.
upasanta kashaya; destructions of deluding karmas,
Mhm.
kshina kasaya;
Mhm.
omniscience with mind, body, and speech,
Mhm.
samyag
Sanyogi Kevali. I know it, they use the M
sanyogi kevali jina;
thing, but
and
yes,
omniscience without mind, body, and speech, ayoga kevali jina.
yes.
Sanyog. False belief, mithyatva.
Sanyogi. Actually, it should not even be Sanyogi. That's a misspelling. Can you make a note of that too, please, Amit?
Sure.
The spelling mistake is in the Hindi version, and that's why it's translated wrong in the English version. It should be Sayogi. Just there's no dot there. Okay.
Okay. Sayogi Kevali Jin.
Sayog means with body, and Ayog means without body.
Yeah. False belief, mithyatva.
Sorry, Prabhat, you can ask one quick question. What is unprecedented dispositions? What does that mean? Apurva karna.
Apurva karana, number 8.
Okay, that means that a stage that you have not reached before, prior to this. So, see, they're just describing that. So, Desh Virat is the fifth one where you take limited vows. Pramat Sanyat is once you're sadhu, right?
Hmm.
Pramat Sanyat, there's no Pramat means pramad, laziness, right? So, no laziness. Seventh Gunstan, the Jeev is in the meditation state. Now, once he's in meditation, he reaches, as he progresses, that is something he has never done before,
Mm-hmm.
the stage of the soul.
Okay.
And that's how these are
Sounds
named.
good. Okay.
Go ahead.
The word mithyatva means futile, distorted, contrary, and false. The collective state of those jivas whose belief, shraddha, regarding the soul and other fundamental elements, tattvartha, is false, is called stage of false belief, mithyatva gunasthan.
Mhm.
Just as a being afflicted with bilious fever does not relish sweet taste, in the same way, a jiva with false belief does not relish the righteousness of the soul in the form of the right three jewels, samyak ratnatraya. A jiva with false beliefs lacks the discernment between self and non-self, meaning it does not possess experiential, unbiased faith in the true essence of fundamental elements, tattvarth, nor does it have true belief in Deva, omniscient God, Shastra, scriptures, and Guru, non-attached monk. There are two types of false beliefs, non-acquired and acquired, agrahit and grahit. The continuous flow of ignorance-based false belief which has been present in all worldly souls, including one-sensed beings, ekendriya, where the soul identifies with material objects like the body and sees itself as one with them, as well as with feelings of attachment, rag, caused by them, is known as non-acquired false belief, agrahit mithya. When such a soul, unable to understand the true nature of substances, live like the jiva, accepts a new imagined misconception about these substances, this is referred to as acquired false belief or gruhit mithya darshan. Number 2, downfall from right belief is sasadhan. The opposition to right belief, samyak darshan, is called pasadhan. And the disposition that arises together with it is called as downfall from right belief, sasadhan. That jiva which is having substantial right belief, akshamik samyak drishti, under the influence of the rise of passions that causes infinite worldly existence, ananta anubandhi kashaya,
Anantanabandhi Kashaya.
Anantanubandhi Kashaya, during the period of substantial right belief, when at least one samay and at most 6 avilak remain, avlikal remain, 6 avilikal remain, falls from the summit of the right belief and facing the ground of false belief, destroys right belief, but has not yet attained false belief, mithya darshan. The state of such a soul is called Sasadhan Gunsthan. The full name of this stage is Sasadhan Samyaktva. The use of the term Samyaktva together with Sasadhan is with respect to the state of right belief, Samyaktva, in the past.
Okay, let's understand. Okay, so first let's understand the mithyatva. So, mithyatva, who all is in mithyatva, Gunsthan?
We are all.
We all. So basically, okay, so before mithyatva, you could be, so even there's a range, right? From mithyatva to samyaktva also, you could be somewhere in between. Even though samyaktva is considered basically like a flip of a switch, because as soon as you experience your soul. But still, your state of belief keeps on improving as you understand the tattva. So there is another term called samyaktva sanmukh mithyatvi. Okay. So routinely in Vyavhar, you're very confident who you are. You don't get disturbed by the outside circumstances as much as you used to. And even if you do, you have this strong conviction that this is who I am. It's it's like we give this example of while you're driving the car or doing anything, inside this strong conviction is there that I'm Viraj, I'm Amit, I'm Dinesh, whatever the case may be. So it's the same thing. When that conviction comes to I am the soul, and that association you can feel more and more and more, that is called Samyata Sanmukh. So, so those who have wrong belief, obviously, their association is not with self, it's with the body. That is mithyatvi. And so they're saying that just like those who have fever, right? Or acidity fever. You know, I don't know if you guys have, sometimes you get that kind of fever where nothing tastes good. So what they're comparing that with mithya drashti, that kind of mithya drashti who has this blanket of the untruth, he doesn't take any interest in the soul. He doesn't like the Ratnatraya or Atmadharma and all that. Mithyatvi doesn't have the distinction between self and non-self. So because of that, his thinking is opposite of the Swanubhuti. And he doesn't believe in the tattvas, he doesn't believe in the true Dev Shastra Guru. So those are all. So somebody will say, oh, I believe in the true Dev Shastra Guru. I don't even bow down to any other gods or demigods or anything else except Jain Mandir, right? There are a lot of people who will only go to Jain temples, right? But that's necessary, but not sufficient. Now, we already studied this Mithya Darshan, two types of Mithya Darshan, Grahit and Agrahit. Who remembers which one is what?
Oh. Sorry, what is the question?
Agrahit and Grahit.
Non-acquired and agrahit is you're just born with it.
Yes.
And
Grahit
grahit is what you
newly acquired.
learned.
Good job, Viraj. Good job. Okay. So, now एकेंद्रिय आदि सभी संसारी जीवों के प्रवाह रूप से जो अज्ञान भाव मिथ्या मान्यता. So, this wrong belief has been coming to us since we were in Nigod, then Ekendriya, Do Indriya, all along. So, because this jeev has always been attached to whatever body form it got. And then because of that attachment, he had the oneness with the Pudgal, with the body. So that was always existed. So that is agrahit. And then when it takes birth, and then he gets these new manyatas, which are grahit mithyat darshan, which we have studied in the past. Okay, now the second one, sasadhan. Sasadhan is kind of given, there's a little analogy which is not sounding very good, but it's like, so you ate something, then you throw up, but there's still that little taste left in your mouth. That is what sasadhan is compared to. So basically somebody reached Samyak Darshan. Now they're towards their downfall. So the Samyak Darshan is going away. It's not completely gone, yet they are not yet Mithya Drashti. So that in-between stage is called Sasadhan. So in that, what happens is that Darshan Monia has come back, but Charitra Monia, it's still, that Anantanubandhi has not yet come back. So that they talk about how long it stays. It only stays for like one samay. And at the most, cha avli kal shesh rehne par samay. So it's a very, very hard for us to even catch that small of a time. So this should give us the importance that how much Kevli Bhagwan can see, how detailed. So, okay. So let's start with the Mishra. Viraj, you want to read?
Yeah.
So before you go on, just Auntie, if this number 2 and number 3, they're both 48 minutes, only one antar more. So can a Shravak go in and out of those? Like, can you go from 1 to 4 and then 4 down to 1? Like, are these, or do you just like can you go up to, like, can you pass through that antar muhurat multiple times? That 48 minutes for these states, number 2 and number 3?
Possibly. Yes, all the possibilities do exist. So it all depends on the purusharth, on the effort. So let's say somebody was falling and then they catch themselves and they can go back up.
Okay. So where am I on 4? Where do I start?
Third, Mishra.
Mishra, mixed right and false belief. Samyak Mithya Vasta Mishra. state in which Jeev experiences simultaneous right and false belief faith due to the rise of the karma causing both right and false belief. Samyaktava pratik prakriti is called Mishra Gunastan, just as the combined taste of curd and jaggery is simultaneously experienced upon mixing. A jeev in this state holds both right and false belief at the same time. In this state, there is no rise of anantanubandhi kashai. The duration of the Gunastan is also an antarmurat. From this stage, spiritual development, there is no direct attainment of the stages of partial restraint, desh virat, and vigilant restraint, up pramat samyat. Moreover, here there is neither the bondage of lifespan, ayu, related to a future rebirth, nor death, nor the final annihilation of the end of life. Maharanitika samukta.
Maranantik samudghat.
Maharantik samutta, right?
Okay, so that's another little detail. Sometimes when you die, uh, the karmas can be spread. So they're saying from this Gunsthan, that doesn't happen. Now, this Mishra, basically, this is the one where they say this, ya anantanubandhi kashaya ka uday nahi hota. That means कि you know how in mithya in some when you get samyaktva, your shraddha gun darshan moniya has subsided and charitra moniya also has subsided because the anantanubandhi kashaya is no longer there. So here what they're saying is the anantanubandhi right now is not in uday, but mithyatva has started coming, so you get the mixed taste of samyak darshan and mithya darshan. But charitra wise, it anantanubandhis uday is not there. So that is the difference between Sasadan and Mishra. Okay, go ahead.
And
Avirat.
is this still exclusively householders, or even monks can go back down to these stages?
Monks can also go down, yeah.
Okay.
Vowel's right belief. Avirat samyaktva. The state accompanied by real right belief. Nishchay samyak darshan, but devoid of real vows. Nishchay vrat. Whether small vows, anuvrat, or great vows, mahavrat, is called the fourth stage of spiritual development, known as a vowelless right belief, avirat samyaktva. When the jeev attains right belief, it happens through attainment of subsidence come destruction, shayoksama, etc., together with external conduct befitting the fourth stage of spiritual development. When through its own effort the soul turns towards its own nature, swabhav, it experiences self-realization. That is, it understands its true essence. I am the knower, Gyanak, Supreme Self, Paramatma, remaining one and the same through the three times, Trikal. I am the knower, Gnata. All else are objects of knowledge, Neya. I have no relationship whatsoever with non-self. The many distorted disposition, Vikaran Bhav, that arise in modes are not my nature. The very moment belief and absorption rest in the knowing nature, Gnata Swabhav, those distorted dispositions are destroyed. Indeed, they do not arise at all.
Mhm.
In this way, with decisive awareness, the belief turns towards the self, directly experiencing a transformation of undiluted bliss. And even when the undiluted experience ceases, the pure transformation of the soul, characterized by the absence of false beliefs and the passions causing infinite worldly existence, continues forever. This is called the fourth stage of spiritual development, known as a vowelless right belief. there are three types: subsidential, upashimika, destruction come subsidential, shayoksamika, and destructional shayika. Among these three types of right beliefs, as long as there is rise of partial vow preventing passions of anger, pride, deceit, and greed, apratyakhana
Apratyakhana varan krodh.
apratyakhana varan krodh, Jiv remains in a state of vowless right belief, the fourth stage of spiritual development, Gunsthan. Since it is endowed with self-knowledge, the vowless right believer's intentions are naturally indifferent towards sensory passions. However, in conduct, the renunciation of sensory pleasures and non-violence towards trasa, mobile beings, and sthavara, immobile beings, does not occur. Therefore, 12 kinds of non-renunciations, avirati, are observed in this state. Should I continue?
Okay. So now this is the important one, right? Which we should all be targeting, which is that the initially they were talking about what is going to be your belief, that I am that permanent soul. None of the circumstances is me or mine. I'm only the knower. Everything else around me is things to be known, right? I have no relationship to whatever I see, whatever are my circumstances and surroundings. I am that permanent blissful soul. And when you have that true belief in it, that I am that permanent who is going to transpire, like, which is as soon as you die, all your circumstances, all your relationships, everything is gone, right? But unfortunately, it's difficult for us to think like that without really focusing on this. And whenever you get that shraddha, that no, that this is the reality, that I am not nowhere in this house, relations, anywhere. I am this separate soul, which has its journey. It's temporarily here, which, happens to be with these circumstances and is going to move on. It has no relationships with these circumstances. That strong decision, that strong belief, and which then ultimately leads to the blissful experience of the soul. And that is this samyaktva, avirat samyaktva, because in this state, you don't have to have vows yet. This is just the experience, right? So now there is three types. One is opshamik, which means that darshanmonia karmas are just settled down, which cause that experience of the blissful soul. It could be shayopshamik, where it is some parts of the karmas are getting destroyed and some are subdued. And shaik, where all of the darshanmonia karmas are completely destroyed. So, Dinesh, when you were asking the question about can the sadhus come back down to one, yes, if they have opshamik samyaktva or shayopshamik samyaktva. If they have shaik, then no. Then they will fall only down to the fourth Gunsthan. And then they'll rise back up. Okay? But as long as it is not shaik samyaktva, they can fall down to mithyatva. Okay. Now, then it's saying, as far as charitra is concerned, that they still have apratyakhyan, pratyakyan, and sanjvalan, kashay, ka uday. That means those can still happen to them. So even if somebody is samyaktvi, that does not mean that they are not going to get anger or they are not going to get pride, but it is not the anantanubandhi level of that. It, as soon as the first time you experience the soul, it has limited how many bhav you will have before you go to moksha. There is something is fixed. So that going to moksha is definitely decided. So hopefully it's only 15 bhavas, but rarely it would happen that somebody would go through Ardhapudgal Paravartan. That is a very long time, but still there's an end to it. So in this case, in this Gunsthan, they have not taken any vows yet. So we remember we read that chapter on fifth Gunsthan, Deshvirat, what was that called? 11 Pratima. Remember Shravak ke 11 Pratima. That is the stage before coming to the fifth Gunsthan. So yeah. So okay, let's see. Bahubaliji, you want to read the Deshvirat and Pramat Sanyat now?
Yes. Limited vows of householder, partial restraint, Deshavrat. The right belief soul of the fourth spiritual stage, by advancing the pure modification of his own soul through self-oriented effort, Swasanmukha Purushartha, attains the fifth spiritual stage. He begins to experience the undisturbed realization of the soul, Nirvikalpa Anubhava, sooner and sooner compared to the fourth spiritual stage, and the partial vow preventing passion, Apratyakyana Varana Kashaya, comes to an end. Because of the increase in inner tranquility, his detachment towards external things deepens, and naturally there arise auspicious feelings inclined towards the minor vows, Deshavruta. Therefore, he observes the lay vows, Shravakaruta, as they are. But since his special pure modification is not yet intense and the complete vow preventing passion, Pratyakana Varna Kashaya, continues to exist, he cannot qualify for the Mankud state, Munipada, in its essential sense. This very state is the fifth spiritual stage, known as partial restraint or Deshavrata. It is also called the stage of vow and non-vow, Vrutavruta, or the stage of restrained, unrestrained, Samyata, Sanyata, Sanyata, because inwardly, by real viewpoint, there is the condition of vow and non-vow, Vrutavrita, or of restraint and non-restraint, Sanyata, Sanyat, while outwardly, at the same time, there is renunciation from the harm of mobile beings, but no renunciation from the harm of immobile beings. The lay follower in this stage undertakes the minor vows in a regulated way. The self-realized ones with 11 steps of renunciation, Pratima, as well as the ascetics of the categories Shullak, Ailak, and Arika, all belongs to this stage.
So now fifth Gunsthan stage, we have kind of studied a little bit in detail when we studied the Gyara Pratima, right? Those are the stages, 11 stages before getting to the Mongkul. Here, some person who is already Samyak Drashti now is preparing to become a monk, in which case they go through the different stages where they keep adding vows to their life. And again, like we studied before, those vows again coincide with the inner purity of the self. As the kashais go down, as you are more closer to your soul, automatically, naturally, you feel like taking these kind of vows. Okay. So then also, once he has accomplished this Samyak Darshan, which is the Atma Anubhav, in the fifth Gunsthan, the experience of the soul has to happen more frequently and for longer periods of time. And that is what determines, actually, ideally, which Gunsthan you are in. So then they're saying that he also still has now Pratyakyan Varan Kashaya. Apratyakyana Varan also is no longer there. So now he has only two types left, Pratyakhyana Varan and Sanjwalan.
Sorry, what was the last word you said?
Yeah,
Sanjwal.
What is that again? If you can explain.
Sanjwal?
That is the category of the Kashai. How mild form of Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, or all those Kashais you have.
So Sanchwalan
So-
is mild?
Very mildest. Right. So Apratyakhyan was the second category after Anantanubandhi, which also is gone for this fifth Gunsthan Varti. They are still called Shravak. They are not Sadhu yet. For Sadhu, also the Pratyakhyana Varan is also gone. So they only have Sanjwal and Kashai left in them. So because they have some Vrat and partial vows, right? So then it is also called Sanyata Sanyat. That means partial Sanyam and partial no Sanyam. Because in the Muni Vrat, they have to have complete Sanyam, right?
Okay. The
Then,
next one.
yeah.
Monk with mild negligence, Pramatta Sanyat. That knowledgeable person with right belief, who through his efforts based on refuge of inherent soul substance has attained a higher purity than the fifth stage of spiritual development and has manifested complete renunciation in reality. Nishchaya Sakala Sanyam. Yet in whom some negligence, pramada, still persists, is called as one abiding in the stage of negligent restraint, Pramatta Sanyat Gunasthan. Because of the absence of the 12 passions, beginning with the most intense passion causing infinite worldly existence, Anantanubandhi, etc., and along with the disposition of complete restraint, there remains a certain degree the perfect conduct disturbing passion, Sanjvalana, and the quasi passions, Naukashaya.
Quasi passions, yeah.
Okay. Quasi passions, Naukashaya. Therefore, negligence arises which produces an impurity in restraint, and thus the designation monk with mild negligence, Pramatta Sanyat, for this stage is meaningful. In this stage of spiritual development, the Muni consciously observes the great vows, Mahavrata. Therefore, although various activities such as delivering and receiving discourses, taking alms, and the other requisites, excretion of bodily waste, movement from one place to another, etc., happen deliberately, yet the inner pure transformation suited to a Muni, that is the state of restraint in reality. Nischaya Sanyat Dasha. Nischaya Sanyam Dasha continues uninterruptedly. Correspondingly, the observance of the 28 primary vows, Molaguna, the supplementary vows, Uttaraguna, and all the distinctions of conduct are naturally maintained as they are. These 28 primary vows are as follows: 5 great vows, Mahavrata, 5 rules of carefulness, Samiti, 6 essential duties, Avashaka, 5 controls of the senses, Indriya Sanyama, 1 nudity, Nagnata, 1 plucking of hair, Keshavalochana, 1 non-bathing, Asnanata, 1 sleeping on the ground, Bhumis Shayana, 1 not brushing the teeth, Adanta Dovana, 1 taking food while standing, 1 eating only once a day, Eka Bhukti. 15 negligences, pramadas, are the 4 inappropriate narratives, vikatas, are tales of women, tales of devotees, bhaktakata, tales of kingdom, rastrakata, and tales of ruling the earth, Avanipal Katha. The four passions, Kashaya, are anger, pride, deceit, and greed. The five senses, sleep and affection. Pranaya are Sneha.
Sorry. Before you go on, Bahubali, Auntie, there's no Sanskrit word for taking food while standing. Do you know what that? It's not. At least it's not in the English.
Oh, really?
So
What
after
did they,
after Adanta
after
Dhovan,
Bhumi Shayan, Adanta Dhovan,
Adanta Dhovan, and then the taking food while standing. There's no.
that's okay. There doesn't have to be a term for it in English.
But all the other ones have. Only
Actually,
that one
even
doesn't.
in the Hindi, it doesn't have. यहाँ पर भी वही लिखा है, खड़े
It just says एक खड़े होकर आहार लेना,
Yeah.
खड़े रहकर आहार लेना.
Okay,
That's
I
what
just
they're
thought
just trying
all
to
the other
say.
ones had it, so that's what I.
Because the other ones kind of no brushing. So because there's a Adanta Dhovan word, they translated it as one word. But there is no specific word for, taking meals while standing. So
You can combine the standing and the Ekabhukti is one meal. That means Ekabhukti while standing.
well, no, because bhukti just
fish
means
that
taking, accepting. It doesn't mean standing.
Yeah.
So it just says accepting meals one time only, but a standing is not required here.
Yeah.
So again, this 28 mool gun, according to the Gambar Parampara, and I don't know if all the Shastras actually have the same 28 mool gun, because obviously Shvetambars don't follow couple of these. So
Okay. So each of these, along with their combinations, form 80 varieties in total. This negligence, though producing impurity in restraint, sayama, does not destroy the real restraint, nishchaya sayama, appropriate to the sixth stage of spiritual development. In the sixth spiritual stage, there is conscious, thoughtful activity, savikalpa, along with relevant purity of transformation. While in the seventh spiritual stage, there is no deliberate activity, nirvikalpa. The duration of both is only an antarmuhurt. Hence, even if a monk remains in monkhood for thousands of years, still within an antarmuhurta, there is a shift in his gunasthan. That is, every monk who does not ascend the Sreni continuously alternates within monkhood, going from the seventh stage back to the sixth, and again from the sixth to the seventh. This alternation of Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa inevitably continues. Here, it must be especially understood that as soon as monkhood begins, the seventh stage comes first, followed by the sixth.
Okay. So now Pramat Sanyat is the monkhood state. Okay. So what they just said was it first starts with the meditation state, which is the seventh. And then it falls to the sixth, which is the contemplation. So you're now thinking. So when you're in meditation, which obviously is less than 48 minutes, if you stay 48 minutes, remember we said it becomes Keval Gyan. So within 48 minutes, they keep coming out of meditation. And when they come out, that is when it is the sixth Gunsthan, because that is when they have this thought about that they need to follow all these Mahavrat Samiti, because when you're in meditation, you don't need to think about any of those things. And all these things that they described only apply when they come back to the sixth Gunsthan. So that is when, if they have to go to food, they have to remember to do it only once a day, only while standing. They don't brush, they don't shower, they don't no clothes, all those things. So when you're sitting in meditation with your soul, you are not thinking of the body. There, that time, none of these 28 mool guna are going to apply. But then when they're in the sixth Gunsthan, they cannot do all these different types of talks, Sri Katha, Bhakta Katha, all these gossips, Muni Raj ki bhumika mein, they are not supposed to do. So if you basically you come across a sadhu and now they're discussing politics with you. So Now you're learning. So you know that they're not following their sadhu vows. Okay. So then, of course, then all the char kashai, 5 indriya, nidra, pranay, all these things are 15. Pramad means they used a better word for pramad, not laziness, but not carefulness, right? What was the word they used in the book?
Negligence.
Negligence, right? So, so these are the 15 types of negligence that they're, involved in their indriya, 5 indriya, then sleeping, uh, liking something, all these are not to be part of the sadhupana. So they are like dosh for them.
ये जो इस पे लिखा है for inappropriate narratives विकथा, तो
Right.
ये तो समझ में आ गया कि tales of women, kingdoms and ruling the earth, but tales of devotees वो क्यों आता है उसमें भक्त कथा?
Why you need to talk
Gossip.
about it?
No, as an inspiration कि ये अच्छा bhakta, right? I mean, like as in all the Jain, like in Prathamanu Yog, right? In Kathanu Yog, we tell stories of bhaktas, right? Great Jain devotees. So those are considered to be good teaching tools or inspirational tools. So maybe it's at that stage, the sixth Gunasthan, you don't need it anymore. That's why it's saying, but you should not need it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, that is one way to look at it. At that stage, yes. Now, try to think here. Bhakta Katha, if it says, I can double check if there's a error in printing, because when we used to prepare our students for the Jaina Academic Bowl, we used to have this word called Bhata Katha, not Bhakta Katha.
Mhm.
Bhata Katha is like recipes and that type of thing.
Mm. That maybe makes more sense there,
Yeah, it does, but
Prabhat,
I'll have to double check if
No, it's a
that's
Bhokta Katha. That's what Bhokta Katha. Like Stri Katha, Bhokta Katha,
yeah,
Desha
it,
Katha,
or it
Rashtra
could be
Katha.
Bhokta Katha, like
Yeah, that
whatever
makes
you
sense.
bhok
Like
before
enjoyment, right?
enjoyment
Yeah.
Katha, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me double check on that. Yeah, you have a point
Yeah.
there. I mean,
Yeah.
because sadhus, when they give pravachan, they're allowed to say Pratmanu Yog stories.
but
15.
Prabhatji,
Yeah,
Bhakt
I think
Katha
it's
में भी sorry, Bhakt Katha में भी राग का अंश तो है ना?
अग्निपाल कथा
है, पर यूजुअली जब साधु प्रवचन देते हैं तो स्टोरीज भी तो बताते ही है ना.
तो हिंदी बुक में भी भक्त कथा ही लिखा है, but
राष्ट्र
हाँ,
कथा
I
हिंदी
think
बुक में भी भक्त लिखा है.
I
So
think Bhokta Katha. It is.
I mean, you all have a point, but let me find out, because even if it says Bhakta Katha truly, then there could be a reason for it. So it's one thing to say Pratmanu Yog stories in the pravachan, it's another to just discuss amongst themselves. So
so sorry, the next one is also called in Hindi is called Rashtra Katha. So they're also maybe talking about not to discuss anything national, like
of course,
politics.
politics is not a topic for
Right.
sadhus.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah, so that definitely it's understood. That's wrong topic for sadhus.
I read maybe something about, I mean, in kathas like Sri Katha, Bhokta Katha, Rashtra Katha, Raja Katha. Like about the country,
Rashtakatha
about,
and Rajakatha would be same, I would think.
no, I think about the kingdom and the ruler separate.
Is the Avanipal, was that translated as kingdom?
Yeah. No, that is the Raja Katha, I think. That's
No. What did they translate Avanipal Katha as?
Avanipal. Yeah, Avanipal is the ruling the earth.
Ruling,
Yeah, that's
right.
the
That
king.
is the
Yeah.
Raj Katha. Yeah.
The Rashtra
Yeah.
Katha and
So, I mean,
Avanipal.
you don't discuss the ruling party, and that is not, sadhu's job to do those things.
I think out of four, only the Bhakta Katha
Only
is
the Bhakta
yeah,
Katha is
it should
little
be Bhokta Katha. I
questionable.
believe.
Whether it could be either Bhat Katha or Bhog Katha, which those two would definitely be wrong. And again, in some perspective, maybe even Bhakta Katha is wrong. They can do a pravachan about a story, but at the same
Pratman.
time, they are not to discuss. Like, for example, we discussed the story of that Raksha Bandhan, Vishnu Kumar, right? Now, maybe it is not appropriate for a sadhu to discuss those kind of stories. They can say the story when in a pravachan when there is a reference. I mean, that's the only thing I can think about if it is actually Bhakta Katha. But I can double check if it is
Yeah,
actually.
it's quite possible. A lot of times in the Hindi books, there are
There are some
there are
minor
typos
errors,
and
right?
things, so it could definitely be. Yeah, so
Yes.
I just did a quick search. I couldn't find it online, but it may be available.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Pandra Pramad. Yeah, can somebody put it in? So who had that Chat GPT, the version? Yeah, they might be able to list it. 15 Pramad of a sadhu, of a sixth Gunsthan Bharti sadhu. Okay. So निधि जी आप पढ़ेंगे, किताब खुली है? अप्रमत्त संयत, वहां से पढ़िए.
Monks with no negligence, restraint, apramatta sanyat. That Bhavlingi Muniraj, who is free from the previously mentioned 15 kinds of negligence, is called one abiding in the stage of non-negligent restraint, apramatta sanyat, Gunsthan. They are totally devoid of the 12 passions causing infinite worldly existence, anantanubandhi, etc. The perfect conduct disturbing passions, Sanjwalan Kashai, and the 9 other quasi passions persist with mild intensity, appropriate to the 7th stage of spiritual development. Therefore, negligence that produces impurity does not exist in them, and the natural and untransgressed transformation, nirat char parinati, of the primary vows, mool guna, supplementary vows, uttar guna, and other observance remains intact. Hence, the designation non negligent restraint is meaningful. In this stage, there are no psychic thought constructs arising with deliberation, buddhi purvak vikalp, and only the meditation cause consisting of the experience of the non deliberative soul prevails. From the 7th stage onwards, all subsequent stages consist solely of this nirvikalp state. There are 2 subcategories of this gunsthan: swasthan apramatta sanyat, non-negligent restraint abiding in its own natural stage; satishay apramatta sanyat, non-negligent restraint abiding with excellence, with special distinction. Those restrained monks who do not ascend either the ladder of annihilation, Shapak Shreni, or the ladder of subsidence, Uksham Shreni, but who continuously, with each Antar Muhurt, pass from the non negligent state, Apramatta Bhav, into the negligent state, Pramatta Bhav, and from the negligent state back into the non negligent state, their condition is termed as Swasthan Apramatta Sanyat, the ordinary or natural state of non negligent restraint. When such monks, by means of intense effort, greatly increase their absorption in the soul, standing at the threshold of ascending the Shreni, attain the special Adha Pravat
Karan.
Ka
Adha
Karan
Pravat Karan Roop.
Adha Pravat Karan Roop Vishuddhi means where dispositions of prior and posterior moments are uniform. Their condition is then termed Satisha Apramatta Sanyat, non negligent restraint with excellence. When through intense efforts suitable for ascending the Shapak Shreni, the ladder of destruction, they remain absorbed in the soul, then within an Antar Muhur, they attain the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th stages of spiritual development, Gunsthan, and their 21 types of conduct diluting karma, Charitra Mohaniya, are destroyed, and within the same Antar Muhur, they assuredly attain omniscience, Keval Gyan, the 13th stage of spiritual development. If, however, through mild effort suitable for the Upsham Shreni, the ladder of subsidence, they remain absorbed in the soul, then within an Antar Muhurt, they attain the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th Gunsthan. In this case, their 21 types of conduct diluting karma are not destroyed but only subdued, upsham. The duration of Adaha Pravatta Karan is Antar Muhurt. Here, the term Karan means disposition, parinam. For the soul abiding in Adaha Pravatta Karan, at every moment there occurs infinitely greater purity, Ananta Guni Vishuddhata, and in relation to different souls, the dispositions, parinam, of those abiding in the preceding moments, adhastana, samaya varti, and those abiding in subsequent moments, uparitana, samaya varti, are sometimes dissimilar and sometimes similar. Such souls endowed with Adha Pravattakaran are called Satishay Apramat Sanyat, non-negligent restrained ones with excellence. Page 49.
Right. So this is another, okay. So now the seventh Gunstan, they're trying to explain that it is important one because it is during the meditation time. There are two types. Swasthan, that means that it goes to seventh, then drops to sixth, and back and forth and back and forth. उसको श्रेणी चढ़ना बोलते हैं, where they make that jump from seventh Gunstan to eighth. The moment they go into eighth, they continuously keep going up to 11th. Now, if they have done this while उसको क्या बोलते हैं अपन, subsiding the karmas, then they go up to 11th and they can fall back down. Versus if they have been destroying the karmas, then they make it all the way to 13th Gunstan, which is the Satishaya Apramat Gunstan. Now, what all happens as you're progressing from 8th and 9th and 10th and all that? So they're saying the last paragraph, which sounds a little confusing, Adha Pravritta Karan and all those terminologies they're using. All they are is other souls that are in the similar Gunsthan, 7th Gunsthan. In time wise, they could all be doing this in different times. They could start at the same time and progress different times, or they could do it one after the other. So those are the three terminologies they're trying to explain. Adha Pravutta Karan, and this is about the Vishuddhata, the purity of the soul, how infinite times it keeps on improving as the Jeev progresses in these Gunasthan. Now, when they say infinite times, it is progressing. So there is so many karmas that we still have with us, right? So how are they going to get destroyed? So as it goes through these stages, so many of them get destroyed. Lot more keep on multiple times as you progress on the Gunasthans. And that is how by the time it reaches 13th, it has already destroyed all the Ghati karmas. Okay. Okay, so let's go to Apurva Karan now. Arun ji, आप पढ़ेंगे?
अपूर्व करण इस गुणस्थान में स्थित जीवों के परिणामों की संज्ञा अपूर्व. Should I read the Hindi or just go to the English
It
one?
doesn't matter either way. We are just trying to
Oh,
understand.
I'll read both. How's that?
Okay.
इसका काल अंतर्मुहूर्त है. यहाँ भी प्रत्येक जीव के परिणाम में प्रत्येक समय अनंत गुणी विशुद्धि होती जाती है. भिन्न भिन्न जीवों की अपेक्षा उपरितन समयवर्ती जीव के परिणाम अधस्तन समयवर्ती जीव के परिणामों से सदा सदृश ही अपूर्वी विशेष विशुद्धि वाले ही होते हैं, और अभिन्न समयवर्ती जीवों के परिणाम परस्पर सदृश भी होते हैं तथा विसदृश भी होते हैं। इस गुणस्थान में स्थित जीवों की इस प्रकार की परिणाम धारा होने से इस गुणस्थान का नाम अपूर्वकरण है। जो उपशम श्रेणी पर आरोहण करते हैं उनके भी ये परिणाम होते हैं, तथा जो शपक श्रेणी में आरोहण करते हैं उनके भी ये परिणाम होते हैं। वेरी हार्ड टू अंडरस्टैंड इन हिंदी दो।
Okay. English might make it a little easy because you're not used to some of these Hindi words. Okay.
Unprecedented dispositions. Apurva Karan is the process of self-meditation through which the soul attains unprecedented degree of purity, and where the dispositions of prior and subsequent moments are not uniform but are necessarily unique, apurv only, such stage is called apurva karan, highly progressive thought activity. The definition is not in the original text taken from the dictionary. Okay. The disposition of the soul in this stage of spiritual development are termed as apurva karan, the unprecedented, unique, pure transformation. The duration is an antar muhurt. With respect to one soul, here too, in every samay, there is continuous and infinitely increasing rise in purity of disposition of each soul. Anant Guni Vishuddhi. With respect to different souls, jiva, in the same stage, the dispositions of the soul who are in later moments is always dissimilar, that is unprecedented, and with greater purity from the disposition of the soul in the preceding moment. The dispositions parinam of souls who are in the same moment can be similar to one another or dissimilar too. Due to this kind of stream of disposition of the soul abiding in this stage, the stage is named Apurva Karan, this stage of unprecedented pure transformation. These similar transformations also happen to those ascending the Upsham Shreni, ladder of subsidence, and those ascending the Shapak Shreni, ladder of destruction.
So, yeah, I guess it's a little easier to understand in English, but basically all they're saying is because it is now proceeding first time after seventh guna. See, seventh, sixth, they're falling, coming back, falling, coming back, right? Now, eighth, this is something they've never done before. So every moment it progresses, it is something new they've not done before. So that's why they're calling it Apurva Karan. And it applies to both the ones who are subsiding the karmas and going or destroying the karmas and going. And then they talked about the difference between one soul and the other, that they could both be same time or little bit difference in times, आगे पीछे हो सकता है. But really that's not much of significance here. But they just to make you understand the term, they have to give that example.
So,
Okay.
Auntie, so far it looks like 4 or 5 of the Gunasthans are just one Antarmura. So number 2, number 3.
They are all within Antarmuhur. Nothing is going to go beyond Antarmuhur. Because if you stay in meditation 48 minutes consistently, you're going to get Keval Gyan. So it's all going to be less than 48 minutes.
No, but for example, 4th Gunasthan, you can stay there for a long time, right? Or 5th Gunasthan. Like,
I see. Okay.
so there are some that are Gunasthan that are like, kind of like resting Gunasthan, right? And there are some that are small, like very short duration ones. It seems like that you just go through that in a one Antarmura. But like number 4 and 5, and maybe I don't know, other ones are the ones that you can stay for maybe, I don't know,
Right.
like 1,000 years or
No,
million
I'm
years.
talking about after 7th, the ones, the meditation ones. They
Yeah,
will
yeah. I'm
all-
just trying to understand all of them. Like there's quite a distinction here. Some of them are like
Right.
long term, and some are very short term. So number 1, mithyatva is like forever, basically.
Right.
Right. 2 and 3 is
Right.
only one.
Mithyatva 4 and 5 can be long term.
Mithyatva 4 and 5 can be long term. Okay.
1, 4, and 5. All others will be less than an Antarmuhur.
Second,
Yeah, second and
third,
are-
and sixth are the transitional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, even 6th and 3rd or 2nd, they all will be very short duration.
Yeah. Like you are either falling or you are going up.
Yes.
So only 1, 4, and 5 can be long term. So even if you're a Muniraj, Sixth, seventh, those are still all only
Well,
under.
you are a Muniraj only after 6. So
Right.
6th, 7th is always, they call it like a swing. They're swinging between 7th and 6th.
Okay. This is why in our many of our studies they use the term stability many times, right? Stability.
Yes, exactly.
So-
Stability is very, nirantarta is important. Even for Samyak Darshan, see, as you study, you may start getting that feeling like, okay, while you are getting experiences of life, and you may have moments where you feel, oh, this is all futile. This is not me. I'm going to pass on, and all this is going to remain here. And you are genuinely understanding, getting that feeling, but it doesn't stay.
Hmm.
And until it is consistently stays with you, you don't get the Samyak Darshan.
I think in 6th and 7th, they talk about Nirvikalpa, Savikalpa. When they are in Nirvikalpa and then come out of it, Savikalpa, that's why they give discourses, the right.
Yes. So when they're in 7th, they don't give discourses. They're just in meditation. But they keep going back and forth. So when they're out of it, that's when they do
Write
the
all
discourse.
the scriptures or something.
But so not
And they could even, while giving the discourse, let's say Muniraj
Yeah.
is talking for 2 hours, right? That doesn't mean that he cannot go into the Nirvikalp for momentarily and then come out again.
so sorry, not to harp on this, but let's say Muniraj is in 6th Gunasthan or so, or so let's say Muniraj is like a Samyak Drishti Bhavalingi Muni, right?
Mhm.
Would be in 6th Gunasthan, right?
Right.
So that's not for one Antarmura, because now that Muni is there, like
It
that's
is.
almost state of
That's
that
what
state.
I'm saying. That is also Antar Muhurt. So let us say he's in 6th Gunistan, right? He has to go back to meditation, 7th. And even if it may be a fraction of a second, he will experience the soul, come out of it.
But what is that Muni's natural state? Like when that Muni wakes up in the morning, are they in 6th Gunasthan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all Bhavalingi, correct?
But
Everybody
they
is
are all
Bhavalingi.
supposed to keep going into meditation, experiencing the soul coming out, experiencing the soul coming out.
They're going in between 6th and 7th.
6th and
So they're
7th.
constantly going between 6th and 7th.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so they will not stay more than one Antarmurat in 6th or 7th because they're kind of fluctuating. And it doesn't have to be 48, it can be 2 minutes.
Yeah,
or
or it could be a fraction of a second. Very,
yeah,
very
maximum duration is 48 minutes.
maximum is
But they're constantly
less
fluctuating.
than 48. It cannot be 48. It has to be less.
So the characteristic of that Bhavalingi sadhu is the constant fluctuation between
Constant
6th and 7th.
fluctuation. Yes, exactly.
But does he go from 5th straight to 7th first and then he fluctuates?
Yeah, because from 5th, as he takes the bhav, see, what defines you as a sadhu? That purity of that level of 7th Gunistan. Because you are taking sadhupana to be in your soul. So you start with the meditation and then you come out of it when you cannot stay. And then when you come out of it, you're following all those vows and all those things.
And presumably Gunistan 13th and 14th are also long duration because you can be an Arihant or a Siddha, right?
Yes.
So, okay.
So you will be, the 13th will be long as the life is left, age is left. And then when they leave the body, then of course, well, 14th is also very momentarily because as they leave the soul for just that moment, the body just for that moment, and then they reach beyond Gunsthan once they are Siddh.
Oh,
Siddh
see, so Siddha Bhagwan is beyond 14th Gunistan.
Beyond 14th, yes.
I see. Okay.
I think Viraj's question, the 2nd and 6th are the one, like there is no like 1 to 2nd will not go. Always it is falling one, I think. While falling to the, and similarly 6th is once you go to 7th, only you come down to the 6th.
Down to 7th, 6th.
And you're not going to go to 5 to 6. Never go to that 5 to
That's
7
right.
and then
7 and
those
6.
two are the one that always coming down.
Exactly.
So how long could they be fluctuating between 6th and 7th? I mean, that's the big question, right?
Forever until until that moment comes when they can stay in it. So if they stay in it and if they keep going, destroying the karmas, then with the Antarmur, they could get the Keval Gyan. As they rise from 7th to, once they start 8th, it goes up and up and up till 11th. And anywhere in between, Even if they're going subsiding, anywhere in between, if they destroy the karmas, then they could reach 13th. Or if they're not able to destroy it, then they could fall down from 11th.
Could they even come back to fifth? Because that seems to be a
Yeah,
long term.
fourth, huge lot of times, yes.
Yeah.
Or even one, if the Samyaktva is not shaik. Yes.
I mean, whoever not reaching 12th,
So are they in constant state of meditation then?
Yeah, supposed
Like-
to be, that
like
is their
after
goal, but they cannot stay. That dhrata purusharth is not enough.
So they're in seventh and they're trying to meditate, doesn't last long enough, they fall back to sixth.
And then again,
And-
they try to keep, they're constantly trying to stay there.
when
And
you say
if-
meditation,
If they fail in sixth, then they come back to five again?
They can technically, yes,
Okay.
but usually no.
so just to clarify, Andy, when we say that the sitting in meditation, they can be sitting in a meditative posture. The question is the mind in
Is
meditation?
able to focus.
So they can
yes.
be sitting for 12 hours in a day, but
Yeah, and
maybe
still
the mind only
execute
for a few
30
minutes
seconds.
is an
Yes,
actual dhyan.
exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think Mahavir Bhagwan did for those, how many years he was in sadhu?
12.
Right? Yeah. So those years, what did he do? This 7-6, 7-6, 7-6.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Until one fine moment, he climbed up 8th, 9th, 10th, and 13th. And then he was Tirthankar.
So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I
those are-
have a chart. I'm going to put it on the group. Please refer. It shows about all the. I got it some time back. I'll put it.
Okay.
So are we saying that he was fluctuating with sixth and seventh, let's say, for something close to 12 years?
Yes. Yes.
Is
And in
that
Adinath
not
Bhagwan's,
long-term?
it could be many years than that.
Right. But we don't think 12 years is long term? Because you said long term is only 1, 4, and 5. And that's where
but they're like he's
But they're
constantly
fluctuating,
fluctuating
no?
6 and 7.
It's not one particular Gunsthan.
But you only fluctuate, you can
6th
only,
and 7th, yes.
I mean, you can come down if you lose your concentration to 6th. But if you lose a concentration in 6th, then you can come down to 5 then.
So basically, the point Dinesh was making was continuously you cannot stay more than less than Antar Muhurt, except 1, 4, and 5, and 13.
So then you're definitely, if you're spending 10, 12 years, you're definitely coming back to number 5. I
You have
guess.
to, yes, from 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6. Yeah.
That's
Right.
very interesting. I never thought of Mahavir Swami in that way, that almost in a way almost stuck at that 6, 7 for so long until he broke through that, right?
Broke through that,
cut
yes.
the knots, jo bhi knots bolte na usko,
And then there are people like Ayamutta Muni, like that little kid who was floating by mistake, the little boats in the water, and then realized, oh my God, that is such a big sin in the Muni Avastha. And he went into contemplating and got the Kshapakshani and reached Keval Gyan within a few seconds.
Mm.
Do you mind if I share this one? I already put it on the just for curiosity.
Sure, you can share. Yeah.
Do you need permission for the screen or?
No, I
Oh.
think
Oh,
anybody
there you
can.
go. Okay, yeah.
Can you see the
Yeah, we
screen?
can
Yeah.
see it. It should be coming. Yeah.
There, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. See here it is all the how it is from here like.
Shoulder.
See,
Can
like,
you expand it a little bit? I mean,
okay.
I don't know where you're
Oh,
doing
okay.
because you cannot read some of this other stuff.
Bangalaji, what is this exactly? Can you explain, please?
Oh, this one is if you take any Gunsthan here, correct? Like for example, 7th. So where you come from, you can come from 8 Gunsthan, 6, 5, 4, 1. On the left side, it's entering into that Gunsthan. Right side is where it can go from there. If you look at the 7th, they can go to 8 or 6 or 4. So the right side is where you go. left side is, that arrow is where you come from.
Yeah.
So once you are in the 12th, there is no coming down. You will always go up 13, 14. But if the Upshantamo, that's the 11th one, from the 11th,
You can
you
go
can
down
go
to
to
4.
10 and 4. Once you go to 4, if you look at the 4th one, Avirat Gunsthan,
You can go down to 1. Okay.
from here, from the 4th, you can go to 7th, you can go to 5th, you can go to 3, 2, 1. So, I mean, from 11th, any possibility like coming down.
But you see here, when you come down to 3, you could catch yourself and go back to 4.
Yes, yeah, 1 to 4, yeah, 1 or 4.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an interesting chart if you ever are curious from what Gunsthan, where you could go where and things like that.
Babaliji, can you put it on WhatsApp as well?
Yeah, I did put it on the Wednesday group. Yeah, I did.
No.
Bahubali, what is the right side? What is that showing?
Oh, it shows like what Swabhava you are in that at this point of time. So like we talked about different Swabhavas, correct? I mean yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. This is really
Oh yeah,
nice.
yeah. Sometime back I used to remember all these things.
छदमस्त है अभी
Chadmast is
एक से 10 के बीच में, कोई 1 से 4 के बीच में.
हम तो अभी
नहीं, एक्चुअली रागी है. लास्ट टाइम यू टोल्ड रागी है, हम लोग रागी है. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we are ragis. Yeah.
Yeah, हम लोग तो अभी यहाँ पर है. तो
Yeah, मेरा भी ऐसे ही था.
so okay.
Thank you. This is really
Good.
cool.
yeah.
This basically, in nutshells, it explains everything, that where you could come from and then where you go. So it helps you like make you understand clearly.
Yeah.
And then these are the names what you would be called
Dipali,
when you're at this
I have a
stage.
creative thought. We should make a subsidy ka khel isme se.
Ah, वही तो. I
It'll be
think they
so
had,
cool.
you know
Oh,
what,
and
Jaina,
there's some already available.
yeah,
Oh, they
Jaina,
are?
you know,
There are.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
At Jaina, they had subsidy scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is cool.
We call it in pursuit of moksha, right? Instead of trivial pursuit, and you
Yeah. In pursuit of
Made board games.
14 stages.
Or just call it non-trivial pursuit.
Yes, that's good.
Ultimate pursuit.
There is one person who has made a few games. I've just ordered some, but I don't know if I'll get it. Well, I probably won't get it now before I come to Toronto, but just to see what she has. And I know there are games like this, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. I was considering getting those games, and when we meet family for Thanksgiving, playing with those. So that way, indirectly, you get some Swanthya in there. So okay, so let's go to the 9th one.
You continue?
Yeah.
Let's bring it up back. Oh, why is it not going back? Okay. No difference in dispositions. Anivritti Karan. The dispositions of the soul in this stage of spiritual development are termed as Anivritti Karan. Anivritti means no difference, and Karan means modification or state or dispositions. In this spiritual stage too, with respect to one soul, every jiva has a similar transformation in each passing samaya and is associated with infinitely increasing purity as they progress in time. With respect to different souls in same stage, the dispositions of the souls who are in a later moment is always dissimilar, that is unprecedented and with great purity from the dispositions of the soul in preceding moment. The modifications of souls existing in the same moment are always similar to one another. Due to this kind of stream of disposition, Parinam Dhara, of souls abiding in this stage is termed as Anivritti Karan. Its duration also Antarmurta. In this stage, souls through the fire of meditation, Dhyana Rupi Agni, either bring about subsidence, upshamna, of the 20 categories of deluding Mohini karma, and they affect destruction, Shapna, of 20 categories of deluding Mohini and Karma, along with 13 categories of physique making Nam Karma. In them, there is no bondage of next lifespan determining Ayu Karma.
Mhm. So basically what they're saying is when you are in ninth Gunsthan, you cannot have a bondage of Ayu Karma. And it will suppress 20 subcategories of Mohniya Karma and 20 subcategories of Nam Karma and 13 categories of Shapana Karma. That means they destroy 13 out of those 20. So now these are going to be minor differences because these go so fast. Within seconds, you're jumping from 9th, 10th, 11th, like that. And again, same thing applies, Anant Guni Vishuddhi, infinite times more karmas are getting, destroyed as you keep progressive.
Should I go to 10?
Yeah, continue,
Yeah,
Shmasamparaya.
can I just ask one question before he goes on? Sorry, I hope it's not off topic, but when we're talking about the Gunastan, we say that in this time, in Dukkham Kal,
Yeah.
we can go to fourth Gunastan, right? A householder can reach fourth Gunastan. Can Muniraj still go higher than fourth Gunastan in Dukkham Kal?
Yeah, Muniraj can go 6th and 7th, but they may not be able to do the Kshapaksheni, which is reaching the 13th Gunastan right now.
That's not possible at this point. They can only stay 6, 7. Like what is the highest can be reached in this?
Yeah.
Is the 6th or 7th? Yes.
Okay, that's for Bhavalingi sadhus, and householder maximum can reach fourth Gunastan in this Kal.
Well,
Okay.
Panch, 5
Oh,
also.
punch as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say we have only 10 minutes. Should we continue on or?
Yeah, we can do 2 more. So let's see who else is left. Amit ji or Dinesh ji, one of you want to read?
No, I mean, I was going to say I have to do that too. Yeah, right.
Did you not read yet? You can go ahead.
I think he was talking about his presentation.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do that. That's fine. Then we can do that.
Oh. Okay. No, thank you for this. Uttam Tyag, I'll speak of that. And just so we wrap our minds around all of a sudden from 14 Gunasthans to this Dharma selection. I'll quickly summarize the selections for us. Uttam Kshama, forgiveness. Let's go to your spouse's messy habits instead of arguing and helping them clean together. Uttam Kshama. Uttam Mardhav. Thank your colleague for suggestions that improve your projects, right? Uttam Mardhav, humility, modesty. Uttam Arjav, honesty and straightforwardness, being honest about things. Uttam Sach, or purity and cleanliness. Then Uttam Satya, like I agreed, like I told you last time, I didn't do my homework. Uttam Samay. Sorry. Uttam Samay is self-restraint and control over senses. Uttam Tap is austerity and spiritual discipline. Uttam Tyag is renunciation and detachment. Uttam Akinsha is non-possession and non-attachment. Uttam Brahmacharya is celibacy and control over passions. So out of these, the selection, Uttam Tyag is the 8th one. And I will thank Dinesh's son because he did a very comprehensive summary of this. And I'm going to read through that because it is really, really comprehensive. By practicing Uttam Tyag, one learns to live simple, serve selflessly, and stay spiritually centered. The essence of Uttam Tyag means supreme renunciation is giving up attachments to material possessions, pleasures, and even harmful thoughts or emotions like anger, pride, deceit, and greed.
Mhm.
It is not just physical giving up, but mental detachment, letting go with peace and self control. So there are twofold natures of this renunciation. One is external and one is internal. Uh, the virtue of the supreme renunciation, Uttam Tyag, is analyzed through the familiar lens of external and internal perspectives. The external is conventional understanding of renunciation, which involves the physical act of giving away or parting with external possessions. This includes wealth, property, other material objects. The practice of charity or dan is primary expression of the external renunciation. And then the internal renunciation is this is real or nishchay form of renunciation. It is not about physical act or giving, but it's about the internal act of relinquishing the passions, specifically attachment like rag and avarjan or dvesh. True renunciation is a shedding of the impure modifications of the soul. Um, they've established a very clear hierarchy between the two. External renunciation is only considered a part of Tyag Dharma if it is accompanied by internal renunciation. So, giving away wealth while still harboring pride, a desire for fame, or attachment to the act of giving itself is not true renunciation.
Mhm.
I'll read this again. So, giving away of wealth while still harboring pride, a desire for fame, or attachment to the act of giving itself is not true renunciation. The physical act is merely a shadow, a substance is the eternal state of passionless. And then the renunciation of mindness or mamatva as the core principle.
Mhm.
The core principle underlying true renunciation is the abandonment of the feeling of mindness or mamatva or ownership. The problem is not the possession of external objects, but the internal belief that these things are mine. This feeling of ownership is the root of attachment. Therefore, the highest form of renunciation is to relinquish this very notion of possession. An enlightened soul understands that the soul, by its very nature, cannot own any non self substance. All external objects are separate and distinct, and distinct entities. Realizing this truth, the feeling of mindness naturally dissolves. The subsequent act of giving away physical objects is then a natural consequence of this internal realization, not a cause of it. A person who has internally renounced the feeling of ownership over their body cannot have attachment to other, more distant possessions. And then when it comes to renunciation, there are like four kinds of forms of renunciation. The conventional practice of renunciation, which is expressed as charity or dan, is classified into four categories. Ahara dan is giving of pure permissible food. Aushadhi dan is giving of medicines. Shastra Dhyan or Jnana Dhyan is giving scriptures and knowledge. Thank you, which I think you are giving us. Abhay Dan, the giving of protection of fearlessness to living beings who are in danger or in distress.
Mhm.
While these are considered highly auspicious acts of householder, the author reiterates that only constitutes supreme renunciation when they flow from a heart that is free from the passions of greed, pride, or deceit. The true gift is the giving up of one's own passions. When that internal renunciation takes place, external charity becomes a pure and selfless expression of it. Uttam Tyag, I mean, it's the backbone of all these virtues. It removes attachments, it removes desires, it's pride, greed, ego, it removes everything. And what I try to do then is to see, well, how does Uttam Tyag kind of compares with other dasalakshans, right? So
Mhm.
when it comes to Uttam Kshama,
Mhm.
renunciation, it reduces the ego,
Mhm.
attachment, and grudges, right? Uttam Kshama. And with Uttam Madhav, it's like Tyag will cultivate humility naturally,
Mhm.
And with Uttam Arjav, It's like Tyag removes the selfish motives and worldly attachments.
Mhm.
When it comes to Uttam Sach, we are looking at, renunciation of or purifying of mind and body, basically, Tyag. And then in Uttam Satya, it will be like diminishing of the fear of loss and desire for the gain, and allowing one to speak truthfully, freely, without hesitation. Right. So, I mean, these are like how Uttam Tyag supports all these other different virtues. That's what we are trying to
They're
understand
all
here.
interconnected, of course. Yes.
Interconnect. They are all interconnected, basically. Then when it comes to Uttam Brahmacharya, it's renunciation, and it reduces lust and desire, and which is the main obstacle to celibacy. Tyag makes Brahmacharya natural.
Mhm.
And then that's it. That's all about Uttam Tyag. And I will aid it with my Gulzar and Kishore.
Okay, go ahead.
तेरे बिना जिंदगी से कोई शिकवा तो नहीं, कोई शिकवा नहीं. This, I mean, how does it translate with Uttam Tyag? Is like, without you, life has no complaints and no resentments.
Okay. Okay, so
Thank you.
let's ponder upon something. Difference between Uttam Tyag and Dan. Tell me the difference between Tyag and Dan.
Well, the Uttam, in a Uttam Dan, when I'm giving a Dan, it should be without a name, no nothing attached, no strings attached. It's given, it's given. There should be no recognition of that giving.
Mhm.
And when there is no recognition of that giving, that's the Tyag there.
Okay.
No, I'm thinking Dan is a one-time sort of activity. It's more like a symptom of Tyag, but it's not complete Tyag. It's just a one-time activity. Tyag is complete renunciation, giving it up completely, right?
Oh, yeah, we're talking about differences. So to do a Dan, you have to have something with you in order to depart from it.
Correct.
You have to do the same for Tyag.
You don't.
You have to have food to do upvas, to give up food. Even a poor man can give up food, right? They don't even have to have food in their pantry.
Mm-hmm.
So for Tyag, you don't have to have that and you can still Tyag. But for Dan, you have to have that material that you want to donate. You have to have someone who will accept that donation. You may want to give all this wealth, but you cannot find an organization that will accept it.
True.
So, in that sense, Tyag is a self thing versus Dan is a dependent thing.
Correct. Yeah.
So Tyag, you can do, you can say, you may not have 10 buildings yet, but you can do Tyag, where I'm not going to own more than one house. So anytime you have an offer to get another one, you reject it. So you don't have to have something to give up. You're giving up the thought, giving up the attachment towards acquiring more.
अरे बीवी मानेगी नहीं,
Tyag,
कैसे चलेगा?
Tyag is more of an
Tyag can
internal
go on to
activity.
other things also.
Yeah,
Tyag is more of an internal activity. Dana is external activity.
Dan is external, yes.
But both of them are required because this is a one very good sentence. दान से करुणा बढ़ती है, त्याग से आसक्ति बढ़ती है. दोनों संयम और सेवा के द्वार
आसक्ति
खोलते हैं.
घटनी चाहिए, बढ़नी नहीं.
आसक्ति घटती है, राइट,
हाँ.
सॉरी, घटती है और दोनों संयम और सेवा के द्वार खोलते हैं.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. Well, I don't know if Tyag would open doors to Seva, but Dan can, yeah. So yeah, so Tyag is an individual thing to do, and Dan is kind of
Dependent.
recipient, and it's a dependent thing to do.
Yeah. If you don't have anybody to take your dan, you cannot do that.
Exactly. Yes. And I think Barelji has mentioned a couple other differences in
Yes.
that Uttam Tyag.
Yeah.
Yes. So those are the things that
For
the
Dan, you at least need two people. For Tyag, you just need one person.
exactly. Yes.
So one analogy Bharelji had given in the book was if you donate your clothes to charity, it is dan. But if you overcome your attachment to those clothes even before donating, now that is tyag.
Yeah, see, that's a good example. So you may not be, so let's say I have a pair of clothing, like, okay. Now, I may not find anybody who wants to take my used clothing,
Right.
but I can give up attachment towards it. Where, say, two of them got stained, it doesn't bother me because I was not attached to it. They just exist in my closet. I'll wear them if I need to, but if not, I'm not attached to it. See, if somebody borrows it, I'm fine with it. Somebody, it spoils, fine with it. So, yeah, I know some people say, oh, you should throw away things to get that feeling of aparigraha. Not necessarily. You can tyag attachment towards it, which means if someone, like, see, let's say you have whatever house you have, okay, or whatever articles you have. Some of it is because of the punya uday, right? That you got the circumstances you got. Some of the things you can help, like you can choose to not buy a bigger house than you already have. But you have money invested somewhere, whether it's property, stock, whatever. Now, you really don't care to increase your wealth. You've given up the attachment towards it, but you can't help it. Wherever you invested, the stock market or real estate, if it goes up, what can you do about it? Nothing. So, from your punya uday, your wealth can increase, but your attachment towards it can decrease. So, there is not always a correlation between having more and having more attachment.
In the Gita, there's a shlok that says, the man of self-realization is one for whom a clod of earth and an ounce of gold is the same. It doesn't make any distinction
Exactly.
between the two. And there's a lot of very good stories in Hindu mythology too of like great kings, like King Janak and all these things who, they thought they had everything, but there was no attachment to those things. So there's a lot of really good stories in our traditions about
Yeah.
having,
And
but not
actually,
so you can
Kanji
have
Swami
everything.
goes even further that what is all this? Whether it is house, clothes, gold coins, silver coins, at the end of the day, it's all Pudgal.
Yeah, they're just
He
atoms.
calls it all dhud, baddu dhud che.
Yeah. They're just atoms of matter, right?
Exactly. So do you really get that sense that it's all dust? Think about it. Do you really get that sense of uselessness of the materials you have?
And there's even stories of like great tantric masters who would worship the deity with their own excrement, their own feces, and it would turn into flowers. So just showing that they had such control over the forces of nature that it doesn't matter. Those atoms are atoms, right? They can.
Exactly.
That's like I said, our traditions are so rich with these types of stories.
Right.
There was one thing Barelji had written which I like to share. दान और त्याग में अंतर इन बातों से स्पष्ट होता है. लखपति अधिक से अधिक लाख का दान ही दे सकता है. So whoever is rich, they could give like 1 lakh, 4 lakh, whatever your thing is, right?
How much you have, yeah, right. The
Yeah, how
maximum
much ever
that's all
you
you
have.
can donate,
पर
right.
त्याग तो 3 लोगों का हो सकता है.
Yeah, see, I can त्याग कि मैं वर्ल्ड में कहीं नहीं जाऊंगी except Pittsburgh. Nobody's stopping me from doing that, right?
Yeah, I really like that. Like, that you do because you're independent in Tyag, whereas Dan is dependent. That also shows that you could only give what you have.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yes.
तो प्रभा जी त्याग और आकिंचन में कुछ फर्क ही नहीं हुआ फिर
नहीं, अकिंचन्य में भी, yes, you're right. By a
नॉन
akinchanya
पोजेशन की
is
बात कर रहे हैं उसमें हम.
actually giving up things,
Yeah.
and antar is giving up the attachment. That is true.
And that way, even brahmachari, because brahmachari, you're living in atmic state, giving up everything else. So it's one and the same, really, actually.
Like I said, they're all eventually interconnected. So, eventually it all boils down to removing your ekatva, mamatva, kartutva, bhoktrutva.
So probably, I think what I'm
Might,
saying is, if you look at it from a Vivar point of view, they
yeah,
might sound different, but
yeah,
from a Nisha point of view, they're one
they're
and
all connected. Yes, definitely. Because Nishchay point of view is what? I am the soul. Nothing else is me, mine. I'm not the doer of anything. So, that's what eventually it all boils down to.
There's only one dharma. It's just divided for understanding in so many ways.
Yes, in several
right?
different
Yeah.
ways. Yes.
So
And that is why you say truth is one. Different people explained it with different styles, different examples, different classifications. But yet, in doing so, some places could have distorted the truth. And that's where you want to be careful. Where it may sound like, oh, it's very similar to this, and yet there's this little tweak that may be wrong. So that's where you need to be a little careful about. And that's why it's our duty to get the correct knowledge. Then it doesn't matter where you study Hindu scriptures, Muslim, I don't care. Because then once you know the truth, once you know the fundamentals, the tattvas, then you cannot go wrong.
Everything is seen through that light of samyak drishti.
Exactly, that samyaktva uttam, this
Yeah.
thing. And then when you see, then you can see the similarities or the differences.
Mhm.
Or sometimes I would even go further that, oh, they actually meant this by saying this. Because you don't know. Original authors could have meant something and now they're interpreted completely wrongly in different cultures, different religions. So, okay, so good.
Thank you.
Good job, Dinesh Burarji.
Thank you.
सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है वंदना शत बार है जय जिनेन्द्र सभी को
Jai Hind.
And